artificial intelligence. It doesn't seem as far away as it used to be. And if you look at the responses that ChatGPT can give you, it seems to be pretty smart. Things are moving really, really quickly in this space. I think in terms of the lighting design industry, I think one of the first things one of the big things we might see with artificial intelligence is embedded within lighting control systems. So smart buildings infrastructure, where the lighting control can ensure, AI within the lighting control system can ensure that spaces are commissioned correctly. So logging, connecting, and mapping lights in a space, and also making sure that those lights are working and the system is working efficiently. And then it can start learning behaviors and in managing internal lighting loads based perhaps on electrical, grid consumption or cost of power and availability of power. A smart system will be able to predict behaviors. There's spaces where our imagination can run wild outside of all the constricts of budgets and convincing people that you need to do certain things, even the confines of physics. There's no such thing as physics in these spaces. You can do whatever you want with light and form. And as a design team, as a lighting design team at Hoare Lea, we wanted to sort of see how we could try and create a virtual space as part of a research project. So our lighting design team created this world, or a little bit of a world, using the computer engine Unreal. And you can see, you should be able to see it now. It's a fantastical little space. We've had our complexities with the IT and the technology, but what we wanted to do is create a space that's kind of built in light, perhaps a space where we could meet, where we could interact. It's only a testing stage at the moment. We're trying out the technology, but I think it's quite interesting. This is live rendered. It doesn't have to be rendered. You move through it and it's there. And perhaps it's a space for well-being. Perhaps it's a mindfulness space where you can just go to get a few minutes relaxation away from the world. It's an interesting concept and certainly one that we think's got a lot of future. Another one that's a sort of digital space, but perhaps not one that you can interact with. It's much more of a space for learning about building performance and human behaviors and using that to enhance and increase the building performance and optimize is the digital twin. Essentially, you end up with a digital copy of a real building. The real building is embedded with various smart systems that provide data about how the building performs, lighting, IT, heating, ventilation, etc., as well as human interaction and human performance in that. And it feeds that data back to the digital twin that uses all of the power that's embedded within these machines to test, look at, explore new ideas, and it uses that, then feeds that back to the building, to the existing building, to sort of demonstrate how it can be optimized. Now, there's a huge gap, and this is why this is really important, because there's a huge gap in terms of it's called the performance gap between the design of buildings and how designers and engineers think they're going to perform, and actually how they perform in real life. In real life, they always perform worse, and that suggests that the data, that the building has the ability to perform better if the systems inside can be optimized to such an extent. And this is really important because over the next 15 years or so, there's going to be an extra billion people in our world. 2/3 of these are going to be living in cities, and buildings currently use, provide 38% of global emissions. And essentially, our buildings need to be better if we're going to hit our net zero sustainability commitments that we need to do. The key one, and as I mentioned, since ChatGPT was released not that long ago, it seems to have really kind of disrupted everything, is artificial intelligence. It doesn't seem as far away as it used to be. And if you look at the responses that ChatGPT can give you, it seems to be pretty smart. And by all accounts, everyone thinks that things are moving really, really quickly in this space, perhaps quicker than legislation can keep up. I think in terms of the lighting design industry, I think one of the first things one of the big things we might see with artificial intelligence is embedded within lighting control systems. So smart buildings infrastructure, where the lighting control can can ensure, AI within the lighting control system can ensure that spaces are commissioned correctly. So logging, connecting, and mapping lights in a space, and also making sure that those lights are working and the system is working efficiently. And then it can start learning behaviors and in managing internal lighting loads based perhaps on electrical, grid consumption, or cost of power and availability of power, for example. So a smart system will be able to predict behaviors and utilize, perhaps as part of that digital twin we spoke about before, test things out, try things out, and look at how it can reduce energy when not needed. So that we're not wasting energy and we're meeting our sustainability target. Another one that's literally fresh now is Adobe Firefly, and as you can see here, what this can do is it can use AI to create generative fills. It can estimate and expand out the scope of the images, and like I say, this literally happened the other day. It can select objects which used to take years, hours, to select an object and paste it into a different place. And then you can, as you can see here, you can select an item, an area, say what you want in that area, and it will embed it. I think this is a really exciting technology, not least because the amount of time we all as an industry use a lot of Photoshop or image manipulation to create an impression of the space, and I think this is a great tool because if you think about the amount of time we used to use, it's quite interesting to think, well, this could really streamline some of what we do, even improve the quality of it as well. So I think it's a really, really exciting tool.